Jose Mourinho states that good guys never win. Daniel Levy says that fans don't understand how hard it is to get deals done. And Danny Rose has a word with Jose Mourinho and didn't get the move he wanted. This is the review of the Amazon documentary All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur, episodes 4, 5 and 6. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I've just watched episodes 4, 5 and 6 of the Amazon documentary All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur, and I must say these 3 episodes are just as good as episodes 1, 2 and 3. I'm thoroughly enjoying this series so far. Explosive scenes in episodes 4, 5 and 6 from Jose Mourinho. As I say, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to review episodes 4, 5 and 6 in this video. I was actually given exclusive early access by Amazon because I've been involved in this production, which very grateful to be involved in it. So if you haven't watched episodes 4, 5 and 6 so far, and you don't want me to spoil it for you and don't want any spoilers whatsoever, please do watch the episodes first and then come back afterwards. Let's start with episode 4 of the All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur documentary. It starts at Hotspur Way with Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho giving a team talk, as he does, and he says to the players, how many of you have won the FA Cup? Knowing full well none of these players in the room have won the FA Cup, certainly with Tottenham. Of course, our last trophy was the League Cup back in 2008. Trophies are way overdue. He then says, what are you going to do to be ready to win the FA Cup? Really questioning the players, thinking, about winning this trophy. He then says, we need to take this game very seriously. Putting it in the minds of the players that, Tottenham do need to take this cup seriously and the trophies are way overdue, which, all of us fans, feel exactly that. The next scene is Chairman Daniel Levy and Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho on the stage at the staff Christmas party. Daniel Levy stands there and says, 2 things that I want for Christmas this year. 1 is to finish top 4 and 1 to win a trophy. All of the staff members cheer when he says that, we want to win a trophy because, as I keep saying, it is way overdue. The next scenes in this episode is when they follow Jeff Scott, who is the head of medicine at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. They've got 10 physios there. They talk about Eric Dyer, Danny Rose, Ben Davis, and they talk about the injury list is growing. Sonny is suspended for 3 games as well. They then follow the kit man at the club. He has spent a long time at the club. He started as a steward. And then they go to 20-year-old Japhet Tanganga. Tanganga is saying on screen how he was scouted by Chelsea and how he is looking so much of working with Jose Mourinho as he feels that he is one of the best in the world, and it just doesn't get better than that. You then see Jose Mourinho on the training ground and he says, come on guys, a bit of quality, always pushing for that little bit more. And this, these sorts of scenes are what I love to see as a Tottenham fan, really pushing the team all the time and just demanding that quality all the time, exactly what we want. The 24th of December, of course, Christmas Eve, it was Serge Aurier's birthday. You saw Moussa Sissoko, a big friend of Serge Aurier, coming in with a cake, singing happy birthday. Of course, all the other Tottenham players then get involved as well. A nice moment showing, what a huge character Moussa Sissoko is in the changing room, leading these celebrations for Serge Aurier's birthday. Then you have me saying, Merry Christmas to all Tottenham fans. Games are coming thick and fast. We can still get that top 4, if we start winning. Then they cut to Ryan Sessegnon talking about Christmas and talking about buying his mum a designer bag. You've got then Toby Alderweireld saying about all he wants to do at Christmas is to see his family and, life of a footballer, always being around a football club and always playing football over Christmas, and Toby Alderweireld just saying that he really misses not spending time with his family on Christmas Day. It then cuts to Jose Mourinho talking about his dog sadly passing away. Jose Mourinho it was quite an emotional moment actually watching this, because he said to all of the players about his dog dying. He then said that if he seems upset, that saying to the players that it's not about them. He's not upset with the players. He's more upset about his dog dying, and very, very down about that. It then goes to the Boxing Day clash at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Brighton, which Tottenham won 2-1. Jose Mourinho before the game saying, be ready for this, be ready for it, and get the 3 points. Jose Mourinho and his team talk then went on to say, in life, courage, honesty, good feelings, friendship, really trying to bring the Tottenham Hotspur players together. He said we have to go with balls, be friends in life and football. He said in the team talk, beware of Webster. He is a huge threat. It was, of course, Webster who put Brighton and Hove Albion 1-0 up in the game. Then at half-time, he said, we need to compete, we need to have more desire, we need to press, we need more positivity, and we need belief. Constantly saying about positivity and belief. And in the second half, what happens? Tottenham win the game 2-1 with goals through Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Jose Mourinho said after the game, I want to have these players finish the game exhausted. I absolutely love that comment from him, because I want to see the players exhausted as well. From a Tottenham fan's point of view, I want to see the players giving 100% and trying, every 50-50 ball. I want to see them go in for it. I want to see them sprinting for every ball. I want to see them press. I want to see them, try their hardest in every single moment of a match. So, for Jose Mourinho to demand that all of the time, I think is absolutely fantastic from our manager. Our next game is on the 28th of December, Norwich away, which of course we drew 2-2. Disappointing draw against a poor Norwich team, really. We were then 6th in the Premier League, 5 points away from that Champions League spot. It then cuts to New Year's Eve. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, all of the squad was staying at a hotel in Southampton. Of course, our next Premier League game was on New Year's Day against Southampton at St Mary's. You see Serge Aurier FaceTiming a family member, saying, he's praying that we win tomorrow, really wanting the 3 points. Moussa Sissoko was FaceTiming his family, and the family member said, aren't you celebrating tonight because it's New Year's Eve? Moussa Sissoko turned around and said, no, we're having a very quiet time in our rooms. We've got a very important game tomorrow. Jose Mourinho, before the Southampton game, says the game will be very, very difficult. It is a match that we can win, though, but we do need to press high. We then go into New Year's Day when Tottenham face Southampton at St Mary's, with them winning the game 1-0. Harry Kane limped off injured, and that was a really disappointing moment, because Jose Mourinho's face just said it all as Harry Kane was limping off the field. You then hear me saying about if Harry Kane is injured and he's out for a long period of time, it's going to be a big blow to us, which proved exactly right. Dele Alli then talks to the camera about injuries and saying it is absolutely horrible being out as a professional player. Harry Kane was then waiting for a scan very anxiously. The physio said that he could be out for around 12 weeks. A very, very worrying time for Tottenham. I remember this well. All of us fans were, glued to our phones and glued to the news, thinking, when are Tottenham going to announce about Harry Kane's injury? Because if Harry Kane is out injured, it could cause us huge, huge problems for the rest of the season. You then see the clip where Harry Kane is told by the physios that he is going to be out for 12 weeks. Disappointment is an understatement. Very disappointed. He felt gutted, really, for the team and for himself, because, of course, he is England's #1 striker, Tottenham's #1 striker. We really, really miss him when he's not there. Hugo Lloris was then being told by a physio that Moussa Sissoko is injured. Hugo Lloris looked very, very surprised, and then it cuts to the scene where Moussa Sissoko is walking around Hotspur Way with crutches. The physio then told Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho the news about Harry Kane and Moussa Sissoko, the disappointment on Jose's face. He then went over to Sacramento, told him all about it, said that Harry Kane is irreplaceable, then said about Danny Rose being out, Hugo Lloris being out, and now the England striker Harry Kane, which of course, when he's out for a game, you do really miss him. And knowing that he's going to be missing for the next 12 weeks was just dreadful, dreadful news. All of our hearts sank as well as Tottenham fans because, you feel comfortable. You feel very, very comfortable. And you've got a player like Harry Kane in your team, you're always going to score goals. So taking someone like that out of our side, we know that we were going to struggle. We just knew it. Unless Tottenham were going to go into the transfer market in January, which didn't happen. But at that time, it was just, becoming key for us in that season that Tottenham did business in January to go out and get another striker. The best part of these documentaries for me is the banter that the players give one another, these funny moments. And Tanganga hadn't even made his Tottenham debut by this point. And Heung-min Son said to Japhet Tanganga, "New contract." And Tanganga went, "What?" And he said, "Ask him." And then it cuts to Daniel Levy. So Daniel Levy was in the canteen. Sonny was in the canteen with Tanganga. And it was just like that bit of banter. It was like, go and ask him for a new contract. And it was just very, very funny. Tanganga was then talking about the support of his family. Great support of his family that he's had over the years. And Tanganga said that he just wants to repay all of that back to his family. He said that he was crying when Jose Mourinho told him that he was going to be having his Premier League debut against Liverpool, which of course was a very memorable debut for him. He had a great game in that match, even though we lost 1-0. But Jose then went on to say, we need to have belief and we need to be happy to play the game and we have to be very, very aggressive against Liverpool. In his half-time team talk, he said, "No time to be disappointed, no space for disappointment during the game, and you must keep concentration." And again, all of these team talks by Jose Mourinho, I've been very, very impressed with. After Spurs lost that game 1-0 at home to Liverpool, we were down to 8th, 9 points away from Chelsea in the top 4. Japhet Tanganga, after the match, was congratulated by his teammates, which was a great performance in his Premier League debut. Dele Alli was then talking in the physio room about his top 3 chocolate bars. I mentioned it in the last video when I reviewed episodes 1, 2 and 3. Lots of random moments like this, and they always seem to be involving Dele Alli. It's just very, very funny, his random questions and random moments he has. Jose Mourinho was then talking about the FA Cup being very, very special and a trophy he likes to win. Tottenham have won it 8 times. Last time we've won it is 1991. Far, far too long. Gary Mabbutt lifted the FA Cup when we won against Nottingham Forest 2-1. It just seems years and years ago, 30 years ago. It's just crazy, crazy. We then had Middlesbrough at home in the FA Cup. And Jose Mourinho, interestingly and very, very honestly, and I love his honesty, he said, "I think that they can beat us." He actually said to the players, "I think that Middlesbrough can beat us. They are physical and they are coming for everything." The camera goes to Japhet Tanganga again, and he said, "If I play well, it can change my life." And if you remember back, Japhet Tanganga won the Man of the Match award at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Middlesbrough in this FA Cup clash, which of course was only his 2nd appearance in a Tottenham shirt in competitive games. Jose Mourinho said we need to fight and be ready. Of course, Japhet Tanganga's performance was fantastic. He said after the game, "I'm very grateful to the gaffer for this opportunity. I love it." And, he just had a huge smile on his face. It looked like he was absolutely loving himself. He said it has been the best week. His week was absolutely amazing. All of the players applauded him after the match as well, and rightly so. What a fantastic week it was for the youngster. Only 20 years old. I've seen Japhet Tanganga play in many youth games for the under-23s as well. I go to a lot of these matches. So it's always nice for, fans like myself to see all of these players progress and then finally make it into the first team, because believe it or not a lot of them do make it. So when one of them does, it's great to see from a fan's point of view as well. Episode 4 then ends with a clip of Christian Eriksen telling Jose Mourinho that he wants to go by the end of the season. Episode 5 of the All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur documentary started with the transfer window. Of course, we were in January. Tottenham needed a striker badly. Harry Kane was just told that he was out for 12 weeks. So it was a must. Tottenham had to bring a striker in. And of course, we didn't. We all know that now. But at the time, you're thinking, you know, we can't let this January transfer window pass without bringing a striker in. And if you think back, Fernando Llorente wasn't replaced, and you know, that was key. These players need to be replaced when they are sold. Daniel Levy then says to the camera, I read all emails from fans, you know, fans writing in saying, you know, why didn't you sign this player, why didn't you sign that player? Daniel Levy then says, dream teams are not a reality. Daniel Levy then says a very, very interesting thing. I get very frustrated at the end of a transfer window if the team isn't in a better place when we started. Now, all I think about is that Tottenham Hotspur didn't spend money for 518 days when Pochettino was our manager. Of course, Pochettino then took us to a Champions League final. As a Tottenham fan, I find it very hard to come to terms with when we haven't spent money for that period of time. I know... you know, when Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are trying to do business with agents and they're trying to do business with other football clubs, etc., yes, it's very difficult, but every single team in league football are doing business. Tottenham were the only team not doing business in all of that period of time. It can't be that difficult. I know it's difficult, but it can't be that difficult not to get some of these deals over the line. Most of us Tottenham fans just couldn't wait for this series to be aired. And this next scene is why I was most excited about it, to see things like this. You then see Daniel Levy in a board meeting with all of the other board members, and they are talking through. They need a striker and they need a midfielder. That is on Jose Mourinho's list. Daniel Levy then says Jose Mourinho wants a particular type of striker. They were then talking about options. They were talking about lots of things need to come together. And then Daniel Levy says, again, fans have no comprehension of how hard it is getting deals done. It then cuts to Ben Davies and Harry Kane and a couple of other players sat in the canteen watching the TV screen. It was Sky Sports on at the time, and they were talking about transfers, players going here, players going there for X, Y, and Z, you know, amounts of money. And Ben Davies very interestingly said to Harry Kane, let players develop a little bit. Why all these signings all the time? It then cuts to Steve Hitchin, who is then talking about the January transfer window. He said it is the worst window and he absolutely hates it because the January transfer window is full of panic and you just cannot plan. It is not to plan, you know, not to buy players for planning for the future. It is just all about panic. Interestingly, he said that the players that are now being attracted to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are very, very different to what it was 5 years ago. Tottenham midfielder Christian Eriksen is then interviewed on camera. He then says that a football career can be very short and money is the big controller. I thought that was a very interesting comment from him. Tottenham at this point haven't won a game in a month. Our next game was Watford away at Vicarage Road. We drew the game 0-0. Gazzaniga saved a penalty from Troy Deeney. Jedson Fernandez made his debut, and Tottenham hadn't had a 0-0 draw in 93 Premier League games. You know, we hadn't kept a clean sheet away from home in a long while as well. But Jose Mourinho said that the organisation and the intensity was a lot better in this match. This next bit is one of the best parts of this episode. Danny Rose was talked about by Jose Mourinho in a press conference, and he said that Danny Rose is still part of his plans at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Danny Rose has been in and out of the team. Danny Rose was then interviewed by Amazon on camera and said, I know I can be a bit of a handful, but it is how I am programmed. I want to win with this club. You then see Danny Rose going into Jose Mourinho's office, saying to him, Gaffer, can I have a word? Jose Mourinho says, yes, of course. They then go into his office. Jose says, "What's the problem?" And then Danny Rose looks at him and says, "Well, how I'm being treated. If you want me to go, I'll go. But I don't think I'm being treated very well." Jose Mourinho said, "Well, you were fantastic in training, but you didn't play well in the Liverpool game." Danny Rose then said, "I play once every 4 weeks. The defence has kept 2 clean sheets. They are shit in training. They are shit in games. The whole changing room knows that. I'm going to see Daniel Levy as well." Danny Rose really, really wasn't happy with the situation. And I must admit, from watching this documentary, I thought that Jose Mourinho dealt with the situation extremely well, very professional. And, Jose Mourinho really explained why Danny Rose wasn't in the starting lineup. He said his attitude and the way he trained leading up to that Liverpool game was absolutely excellent, and that is why Danny Rose was in the team. That game, Danny Rose didn't play very well. Danny Rose, even in that meeting in Jose's office, admitted that he didn't play well in that game. But it was the attitude and it was the way that Danny Rose went about this I thought was completely wrong. Don't get me wrong, I think it's fine for Danny Rose to go into his manager's office and say, I'm not happy, what can I do to improve? But it was the way Danny Rose had this attitude about it, and, the way he dissed his teammates. He's been a Tottenham Hotspur player professionally for 10 years. He made his debut at White Hart Lane against Arsenal back in 2010, so it's 10 years ago, and he just threw his teammates under the bus and said, they're shit. They're shit in training. They're shit in games. Why am I starting once every month? It was just the way his attitude was with Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho then said to camera that he respected Danny Rose, him going into him, and said that he is a straight talker, and so am I. Danny Rose said on camera, "I am still Tottenham's best left back." I wonder, what the likes of Ben Davis, think of that. You then see Daniel Levy say to Jose Mourinho about the situation, and I love to see this relationship between the chairman and the manager, because they seem very close. Again, I said this in the first 3 episodes that I watched, but even more so now. It just seems to be a continued good relationship between the chairman and the manager. And Daniel Levy says ideally, he would go to Bournemouth or Newcastle, that are both interested in him. He would have gone to Bournemouth because Bournemouth wanted him, but they would only keep him if they stayed up in the Premier League. And I think that's probably the reason why he ended up at Newcastle, because I think Daniel Levy probably felt that he could get a deal done on a permanent basis with Newcastle, which, still to this day hasn't materialised. Daniel Levy then said that Danny Rose's agent didn't want him to go to Bournemouth either. It was then the Norwich home game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Hugo Lloris was back. Eriksson was in the media a lot. They were asking Jose Mourinho what's happening about the Eriksson situation. Inter Milan then came in with an offer. Jose Mourinho, Daniel Levy and Christian Eriksen all had a meeting, and they were trying to find a solution. Daniel Levy said to Christian Eriksen, "We don't want you to go, and whatever money you are offered by a team in Europe, we will match it." And I tell you what, I was very surprised on seeing that. Really, really was. Daniel Levy gets slated a lot, saying that it's always about the money is always the issues. But it's something I was really surprised about, to see that Daniel Levy said, well, whatever money you're going to be offered elsewhere, we will match it to keep you here. Tottenham wanted Eriksson to stay at Spurs, and that does really, really surprise me. Christian Eriksen then told Daniel Levy, well, it's not about the money. It is not about the money at all. I just want a fresh challenge. Daniel Levy said, well, fair enough. Well, I want a fair fee for you. To get 20 million euros in for you, that's what we want. He said that it's going to be very hard to replace a player of that calibre for that money. But, Daniel Levy said, well, it's very fair to have 20 million euros in. And ultimately, that's what Tottenham got in the end for him. It then goes into the Norwich home game. Hugo Lloris was, of course, the focus for the team talk. He was given the team talk. Really nice to see, because up to this point, we'd seen the likes of Harry Kane giving the team talks and Jose Mourinho. So, Hugo Lloris, whenever I see him on the field, I always think that he's very quiet. To actually see him, be really fired up and giving these team talks at the before these games, I really enjoyed it. Really, really did enjoy it. Dele Alli, of course, scored. Pukki got a penalty for Norwich, and then it was a combination of Dele Alli and Heung-min Son getting Tottenham's winner, and then we won that game 2-1. A very, very important 3 points, and that's exactly the words from Jose Mourinho. Even Juan Foyth came in, not involved, but he was there to celebrate with the team, and I love to see that as a Tottenham fan. When these players are not directly involved, not a substitute or not in the starting 11, they are still in and around the team, to give their support, their moral support, and just to show that they're there. Another funny and very interesting moment between Daniel Levy and Danny Rose in this documentary. Daniel Levy was in the canteen. Danny Rose walks in. They kind of have a conversation about what's happening. Will Danny Rose leave or not? Daniel Levy says, well, with Bournemouth, salary-wise, it's going to be very difficult for them to, match your salary and give you what you want. Danny Rose kind of nods and says, yeah, okay. Levy then says, Newcastle are looking at you. That could be a deal that could be done. Danny Rose kind of looks very disappointed, thinking, Bournemouth and Newcastle. And the disappointment on Danny Rose's face is an absolute picture, to be honest. And then Danny Rose says to Daniel Levy, what about Milan? And Daniel Levy says, no. It's just such an interesting moment where you see Danny Rose, because I think he was fully expecting that he was going to get a huge move away from Tottenham, either on a permanent deal or on a loan, fully expecting that he was going to be going to somewhere like Milan. And I think the expectation level was completely different to what was actually reality. And the only move that he was going to get was either going to be Bournemouth or Newcastle in the English Premier League. Anyway, it then goes on to follow Daniel Levy and Steve Hitchen, both of them on the phones, trying to get a striker, of course, to replace Harry Kane, who was missing, or who was going to be missing for all of this period. It could have been until the end of the season. Interestingly, it cuts then to Jose Mourinho in the office, and what I picked up is where Jose Mourinho was. In the background is actually a picture of Jose Mourinho with the Champions League when he won the Champions League. So, he still loves to remind himself that he has won these trophies and, he's been there and done it. Christian Eriksen then goes off to Inter Milan. He is then celebrating with the fans, for his move. 20 million euros is what Tottenham received for him, and exactly what Daniel Levy wanted. So Daniel Levy said to Christian Eriksen, we want 20 million euros for you, and then you can have your move away. And, so Christian Eriksen must have gone off to his agent and said, look, 20 million euros and I'm gone. And that's exactly what deal was done. Harry Kane then says to camera, that he can't blame Christian Eriksen for going, because, when a player wants a new challenge, then, a new challenge it is. Still in the January transfer window, Danny Rose gets his £2 million loan deal to Newcastle United. He then says on camera that it was an opportunity that he couldn't turn down. To be honest, I think it was his only opportunity that he was faced with, so he had to take it. Good luck to Danny Rose, whatever he does in the future. He is still a Tottenham Hotspur player at the moment, so his future is very much in doubt, under Jose Mourinho, because even the Watford game today, the friendly, he wasn't even involved in that. So it'd be interesting to see what the future holds for him. Anyway, it then goes to Steven Bergwijn, of course, a player that we signed for £27 million. Hitchen then says that Steven Bergwijn ticks all of the boxes, of everything that we are looking for. Of course, Steven Bergwijn then went on to make his debut against Manchester City at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which, of course, he scored that great goal. But Steven Bergwijn, on signing for Tottenham, said, normally I play the Tottenham Hotspur v Manchester City game on the PlayStation. You know, this type of game, this huge game, he would play at the on the PlayStation. So to play in this game is absolutely huge. But when Daniel Levy was getting the deal done with Steve Hitchin and Steven Bergwijn, and Steven Bergwijn's family was there, Daniel Levy actually FaceTimed Jose Mourinho and then handed the phone to Steven Bergwijn. And they were having a chat, and Jose Mourinho said, is the deal done yet? You know, you're going to be facing Manchester City on your debut this weekend, which it was a huge game, which of course Tottenham won in the end. And then Levy looked at Steven Bergwijn after he put the phone down and said, you know, you mustn't let him down. There are high expectations. And then Spurs very nicely followed him and his family, showing Steven Bergwijn a flat, and they sorted out his apartment for Steven Bergwijn. We then come on to the Manchester City game. Of course, the hosting the champions of the Premier League at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which of course Tottenham ended up winning this game 2-0. Jose Mourinho said before the game that we need to take risks and we need to be organised. Hugo Lloris done the team talk as well, and really nice to see. I love to see Hugo Lloris, really fired up and geeing on his team before the game. Hugo Lloris actually saved a penalty in this game at half time. Jose Mourinho come in and said, we're giving them a good fight. Story of good guys, they never win. Jose Mourinho said that word again that he said in the first 3 episodes. Be a bunch of C's, and that's exactly what Tottenham were in the second half. Harry Winks got Zinchenko sent off. Harry Winks was passing him. Zinchenko took him out, got a second yellow card, got a red. Steven Bergwijn then got that goal. Heung-min Son got the second, and felt like a defining moment. Ben Davies then said to Harry Winks as he was coming back into the changing room, where did that turn of pace come from? I thought that was a wonderful moment. Very, very funny moment. But at that point in the season, when Tottenham beat Manchester City, the confidence was really high to beat the Premier League champions, the previous year. Just give every single fan a lift. I remember feeling, on top of the world when we got that result. In particular, when Steven Bergwijn come in, of course, Harry Kane had that long-term injury, and it just gave everyone a huge boost, thinking that we've got a player here that can grab us goals. Episode 6 of the All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur documentary started with Jose Mourinho talking about all of the injuries at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Steven Bergwijn, of course, Tottenham's new signing, was then asked about Jose Mourinho. He replied that he is a very nice family man, which I thought was lovely. And then it goes into all of the daily medical meetings, and at this point, the documentary really focused on all of Tottenham's injuries. It was very depressing, really, to think back, with all of those dark days of all of us fans thinking, oh my God, another injury. It just was one problem after another. So if we felt that, just imagine how Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho felt, because, during all of this negativity about injuries, losing all of these players in these key games, Eric Lamela trained for 30 minutes. He then come back in and said that he had a pain. Which was then another problem for Jose Mourinho, with Eric Lamela looked like he was going to be out. It then goes to Lucas Moura. He went to a stadium tour, surprised a Brazilian fan. One thing I love about Lucas Moura, I've met Lucas Moura on a couple of occasions, and he is absolutely fantastic with the fans. Really, really is. Lots of times, he's got a lot of time for the fans, always signing autographs and always making sure that whatever fans want, he is there to do, which I love to see that. And, for him to go to this stadium tour and surprise a young Brazilian fan, I thought was just a lovely moment. It was then the Southampton FA Cup replay, lots of transfer speculation, talking about trophies as well. Tottenham needing a trophy. I keep saying it again and again and again. Tottenham haven't won an FA Cup since 1991, so it's always going to be spoken about. When Tottenham are in the FA Cup. It was then the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Southampton in the FA Cup. The team talk from Jose Mourinho. He said we have to go with the mentality we need. Very touchy-feely with all of the players, lots of hugs, lots of support for every single player in the changing room, which I love to see again from Jose Mourinho. As I said on previous videos, I didn't think that Jose Mourinho was that type of manager, to be so touchy-feely with a lot of the players and to be very supportive, very calm, very supportive of every single player. His man management skills have been second to none. I've been very, very impressed with his attitude with all of the players. Just love to see it. Hugo Lloris said at half-time that the players need to take responsibility. Love to see it again from our captain, because, you know, the captain should be a huge leader. And I really enjoyed seeing that from Hugo Lloris in this documentary so far. Jose then said, you know, we need to feel more. You have to feel. And if you are not ready, you know, if you're not ready in the game, it's better off not to come. You know, to play in the game. It's a football match and you must always be ready. And, you know, love this attitude from Mourinho, because all of us fans always expect Tottenham to give a fight. We always want our team to win, and it's nothing better than seeing our captain Hugo Lloris and our manager Jose Mourinho saying exactly the same things as what a lot of us would say if we were there. I should have said, actually, it was 1-1 at half-time. In the second half, Danny Ings put them 2-1 up. Dele Alli comes off the bench. Dele Alli to Moura, goal. Lucas gets the goal, 2-2. And that man, Heung-min Son, steps up, scores a penalty, and we win the game 3-2. What a huge lift. The likes of Harry Kane, Moussa Sissoko, etc. all out injured. Tottenham go through to the next round of the FA Cup. Gives us fans a little bit of belief, thinking that, you know, we could perhaps go on to win the FA Cup. Me, certainly, anyway. Jose Mourinho walked in the changing room and he said, make lots of noise. If you make lots of noise, you will get an extra day off. I love things like that. You know, the banter and the attitude with the players. And as I keep saying, excellent attitude with all of the players and excellent man management skills. And he said the boys were incredible, so I've given them an extra day off. I absolutely love that. So Tottenham's next game, Aston Villa away at Villa Park. Jose has shaved his hair. He said it is the most important week. If we win at Aston Villa, we have a chance of finishing in the top 4. The fans want to win this game, but I want to have the conditions to live up to these expectations. You know, at this point, you must feel that, you know, it must be very, very difficult for Jose Mourinho, having come into the job in November. And ever since he's taken the job, it's just injuries galore. You know, if you think back to his first game managing Tottenham away at West Ham, he lost Ben Davies. With this Aston Villa game away, was the first game that Ben Davies come back into play for him. So, you know, one player back, but still lots of players missing. Anyway, this game was played on the 16th of Feb. Spurs went 1-0 down. Heung-min Son went down very early on. We know what happened, you know, afterwards, but we all thought that everything was fine. Heung-min Son carried on playing. Toby got our equaliser, 1-1. Heung-min Son's penalty was then saved. He then scored the rebound, 2-1. It was his 50th Premier League goal. At half-time, Jose Mourinho said, don't be stupid, no yellow cards. You have to kill when you have the chances. And of course, that is exactly what we did. A very memorable day at Villa Park. Sonny scored in stoppage time. We won the game 3-2. And again, another turning point. Well, we thought it was a turning point in Tottenham's season because, you know, to win in stoppage time, Heung-min Son steps up again and, you know, just grabs that vital goal. He always seems to grab vital goals for us. But yeah, it just gives the Tottenham fans a huge lift at this point. Lovely to see from a fan's point of view the amount of celebrations in the changing room again. Tottenham were 1 point away from top 4. The next day, the Tottenham Hotspur players had a recovery session. Heung-min Son was stating to the physios that he had a slight pain in his arm. A bit of swelling as well. Son looked so disappointed and said, you know, I can't miss a game because of my arm. Jose Mourinho and the medical staff talk about Son's arm, and Jose was just thinking, we need him. The medical staff were talking to Jose Mourinho and they said, we are hoping for a small fracture on Heung-min Son's arm, but it wasn't. It was a bad fracture. It was the worst possible news. It was a strong fracture. And it was then said that Heung-min Son would be out for the rest of the season. Hugo Lloris is then heard saying that it is always bad news. And he said, you know, you've got to feel for the manager. Ever since he's arrived, it's just bad luck after bad luck. The RB Leipzig game was then coming up. It was then said that Eric Lamela could be playing in this game. And he said, Son is out, so I want to play. You know, talking to the medical staff, because Eric Lamela at this point was probably feeling some responsibility of, you know, just get back into the starting lineup, or certainly in Tottenham's squad, or in contention for a game for Jose Mourinho, because Tottenham were losing players left, right and centre at this stage. You then see the media open training session, and all the focus was all on Tottenham's injuries at this point, and you're thinking RB Leipzig, the home match in the Champions League is coming up, and where are Tottenham going to score these goals? That was the big worry for every single Tottenham fan, thinking, well, where are the goals coming from? Who's going to create them, let alone score them? Lucas Moura was then talking about his hat-trick against Ajax, bringing it all back to all of us Tottenham fans, you know, that wonderful moment in Amsterdam when he scored those 3 terrific and very memorable goals. The last scene of episode 6 is Jose Mourinho ahead of the Leipzig game in his team talk, saying, you know, we need to be very quick, we need to be very simple, mentality is very important, defensively 2 lines of 4, and just kept saying to the Tottenham Hotspur squad that they are very aggressive and we need to be on top of our game. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do put all of your thoughts and comments in the comment section below once you have watched episodes 4, 5 and 6, and let me know what you made of these episodes, and let me know what you're making of the series so far. Anyway, stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.